I'm the definition of half man, half drugs, ass to clubs, bad boy, that's what's up.
Whoa, I don't know about that statement. P. Diddles. I mean, Diddy. Did he do it? God, these jokes just write themselves. At least R. Kelly had a hard name to make fun of in regards to his deviant actions. Anyway, the rapper slash entrepreneur slash actor slash brand ambassador slash baby oil enthusiast P. Diddy has been embroiled in legal troubles this year, and it just keeps getting worse. Just give this man a private island and he's basically a rapping Jeffrey Epstein. But I'm honestly not here to talk about any of that because I feel like you could get that information literally anywhere else on the internet at this point, since every other YouTuber has felt the need to weigh in and pile on. Diddy has been dominating the news cycle the past few months, and it got me thinking, did he ever actually have any good songs? I mean, in a way, the guy is kind of a legend, a mighty tarnished legend at this point, but nonetheless, this was a man that was around during the rebirth of rap music in the 90s. Diddy signed legendary rapper and GOAT contender, the Notorious B.I.G. Diddy was a big part of the East versus West Coast rap wars, and some even say Diddy knew who Biggie's killer was, but that's getting a little too far off into conspiracy theory territory for my liking. But when I started actually thinking about this dude as just an artist, I had to ask myself, do I know any songs that are purely a P. Diddy song and not just some song he featured on? I mean, let's be real. Snoop D-O-double-G wins the prize of most featured rapper of all time. Snoop Dogg has been on everything from a Corey Feldman album, Limp Bizkit, hell, he even featured on an ICP song. But I swear to God, P. Diddy is up there as one of those throwaway feature artists that you saw on many, many songs in the 90s and 2000s and beyond. I'm not gonna lie, if we were in the schoolyard during recess and you twisted my nipples and told me to name 5 songs that were P. Diddy songs and not a feature, well, my nurples would be quite purple before I'd be able to do that. In this video, I'd like to explore P. Diddy as a rapper and try to recall what songs he actually put out and if they were any good. Stick around, this is Dancing with Ghosts.
I hate you too, but I won't stop now.
There was kind of this understanding in the 90s that P. Diddy was an important figure that was to be regarded in some measure. He was as ubiquitous in the 90s as Phil Collins was in the 80s. He was all over the place, and it always seemed like his reputation as a wealthy entrepreneur was far more important to him than his actual musical output. Long story short, P. Diddy, whose legal name is Sean Combs, worked at a record label called Uptown Records in 1990. By 1993, Combs had been fired, but he dusted himself off and started his own record label called Bad Boy Records. Combs was able to convince Christopher Wallace, aka Notorious B.I.G., to join him on his new label, and that was to be his first signee. Biggie blew up, and P. Diddy saw his ticket into the limelight. Appearing in nearly all of Notorious B.I.G.'s videos, P. Diddy was not only a label head, but now also apparently a rapper and hype man. He was in so many of Biggie's videos that competing label head Suge Knight, founder of Death Row Records, took a shot at Diddy in this now infamous The Source Awards video.
And one other thing I'd like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
East Coast Bad Boy Records and West Coast Death Row Records were now in a full-on feud. Two of the greatest rappers of the 90s, and perhaps all time, were brutally gunned down as a result of this drama. Tupac in 1996 and Biggie in 1997. It was in this same year that P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy as he was known at the time, this dude's had like 10 different fucking pseudonyms, would finally release his first actual album. The album was called No Way Out, and the album cover seemed to piggyback on Notorious B.I.G.'s final album, Life After Death, which depicted a hearse with Biggie standing next to it. No Way Out literally looks like the funeral procession that took place after Biggie's death. Kind of morbid if you ask me. Biggie died in March of 1997, and by July of that same year, Diddy had dropped his first record. Given the high-profile nature of the events surrounding this album's release, release, and given the cultural relevancy that P. Diddy had at the time, No Way Out is the quintessential album by the East Coast rapper. This record spawned quite a few hits, many of which I forgot existed, which was kind of the whole impetus of making this video to begin with. The first single off this record was Can't Nobody Hold Me Down.
Push us, cause we're close to the edge. We're trying.
Oh yeah, that's right. That song that heavily samples Grandmaster Flash's 1982 hit The Message.
Push me, cause I'm close to the edge.
Diddy's Can't Nobody Hold Me Down gets even more original by interpolating lyrics from yet another song from the 1980s.
Can't nobody take my pride. Can't nobody hold me down.
This was taken from the 1983 hit Break My Stride by Matthew Wilder. But yeah, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, it kinda sucks. The song just drags on with this very mid-tempo beat, and let's talk about P. Diddy's rap style. It's fucking lazy. He's got this mumble-mouthed approach to his delivery that just sounds boring and dull. I think he's trying to pull off this like calm, cool, pimp-style character who doesn't need to raise his voice to get his point across. But I think it comes across more as a lack of charisma, honestly. A Tupac Shakur, Diddy is not. The next hit single off this album that I also temporarily forgot about is All About the Benjamins.
What y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers.
The beat in this song is an improvement from the last single and even has a pretty memorable hook. And to my knowledge, this is a completely original song with no sampling. There was also a hard rock remix that I was always told was good, but then when I actually heard it...
What y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers.
And I just kind of laughed because like Weird Al did such a hilarious job doing a parody of this song.
Wanna be hackers, cold crackers, slackers, wasting time on...
It's no surprise that the Weird Al version of this song is much more popular, on YouTube at least. Now at this point in the 90s, all of the songs that hit the radio had become fat and bloated. The average runtime of an average pop song on 90s radio had ballooned up to 4 minutes and 14 seconds. That is way too fucking long for a pop song or rap song in my humble opinion. Most songs from Diddy's No Way Out averaged about 5 minutes in length, which is insane considering that there are songs on the radio these days that don't even make it to the 2-minute mark. All of Diddy's and most other rappers' songs at this point in history suffered from being bloated and repetitive, which is why I believe there were so many features on any song that came out. The more headliners on the track, the longer the person is likely to keep listening. There are 2 singles off of No Way Out that I've definitely never heard of until doing research for this video. Victory and Been Around the World. The latter lazily samples David Bowie's Let's Dance and, as you may have guessed, runs way too long. Victory is a pretty decent hidden gem, I would say, but even still, it clocks in at 4 minutes and 56 seconds, yet failed to keep my attention throughout the duration. In contrast, Travis Scott's Sicko Mode, which was released in 2018, clocked in at 5 minutes and 12 seconds, but had like 4 or 5 completely different parts to it that kept things moving. Rap songs in the 90s were basically the same beat with 3 or 4 different rappers on every track as the only ingredient to mix shit up. Finally, we get one of Diddy's most memorable singles, I'll Be Missing You.
It was like yesterday, we used to rock the show. I laced the track, you locked the flow. So far from hanging on the...
Which yet again is sampling another song from the 80s, The Police's 1984 hit, Every Breath You Take. This song was used as the main backbone for this track, but with a more hip-hop oriented beat and vocalist Faith Evans singing the hook. And obviously a lot of rapping from the Diddler. Of course, the religious overtones of I'll Be Missing You, which references things like prayer and heaven, meant that this song could pretty much be played almost anywhere. Even at the funeral of my second cousin like 20 years ago. No bullshit. This song was played before the eulogy began. She was pretty young and this was the music that she listened to. Before making this video, I did not know I had all of these Diddy memories locked away in my head, but I digress. No Way Out solidified Diddy as a legitimate artist in his own right and almost won him the Best New Artist award at the Grammys that year before losing out to Paula Cole. You know, the Where Have All the Cowboys Gone lady. Before the release of Diddy's next album, Forever, he worked with Jimmy Page on a remix of the classic Led Zeppelin song Cashmere. In a move that was probably seen by most old heads as sacrilege, P. Diddy basically attempted to rap over the Cashmere instrumental. I thought the song was pretty cool though at the time, and it definitely fit the late 90s alternative rock vibes that were found on every single movie soundtrack of that era, and that's why 90s movie soundtracks are the best movie soundtracks. But again, the radio version clocked in at 4.5 minutes, and the album version clocked in at over 6 minutes. I'm sorry, but there is only so long that there's only so long that can be interesting before it just starts getting played out. I don't care what's going on over the top. The song starts to get monotonous. So Diddy dropped his next album, Forever, in August of 1999, and this album cover pretty much solidified how every mainstream rap/R&B record looked at the time. Very late 90s aesthetic, to be sure. There were 3 singles off this album, none of which I have the slightest memory of. You got PE 2000, which has an annoying, farty-sounding synthesizer that holds down the same note throughout pretty much the entire song.
That hit right there. Whom shall I fear? Throw your hands in the air. Socialize, get down, let just...
All 4 minutes and 50 seconds of it pass. The next single, Satisfy You, features fellow SA brother in arms, R. Kelly. Yikes, what a dynamic diddling duo. Instrumentally, the producers for this song went back to doing what they do best, sampling other songs. The beat is an almost exact clone of Luniz's 1995 hit, I Got 5 on it.
Give me some brew and I might just chill, but I'm the type that like to light another joint like Cypress Hill.
Which is also a sample of Club Nouveau's Why You Treat Me So Bad.
Oh girl, I loved you, but you turned and you walked away. I will love you more tomorrow. Yeah, I know.
Which I had no idea was a thing until doing research for this video. Like, did hip-hop producers ever churn out anything original? I always thought that Luna's song was just an original composition. It's not all that complicated of an instrumental, but no, it was just a sample of an older song. I understand that rap was born out of sampling, but good God, man, these producers trick me into thinking they're more creative than they actually are. I think it's gotten a lot better these days with compositions for the most part, with instrumentals being uniquely produced from the ground up, but shit, back then it was just copying everyone else's shit from the 80s. The last single from this album, Best Friend, is an R&B 90s slow jam that is nothing to write home about and not really worth mentioning except for the fact that it samples Christopher Cross's Sailing.
You're the love of my life.
Apparently, when it came to music, Diddy didn't fuck with it unless it was borrowing aspects of other songs that were already proven hits in the past. It's just lazy to me, though. The song kind of writes itself at that point, right? If you're sampling the whole meat and potatoes of it, all you have to really do at that point is write a bunch of words that rhyme. Boom, done, on to the next song. Diddy's next album, The Saga Continues, dropped in July of 2001, and this was kind of when I was like most dialed into MTV and the current pop culture at the time. I clearly remember the single off this album, Bad Boy for Life, being played on MTV constantly, and I believe this is probably one of Diddy's most memorable songs outside of I'll Be Missing You, mainly for that super catchy chorus.
Going nowhere. We ain't
I remember seeing Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction in the music video and thinking even as a young teenager, what a fucking joke, Dave, you are lame now. First off, that is the weakest guitar sample I've ever heard. Which for a rap song, it's fine. No one's thinking any of it's real anyway, instrumentally. But don't have a guitar player in your video acting like it's an actual guitar part. But maybe that's just the musician in me calling out some silly shit. The first single off this album is called Let's Get It, featuring like 3 other rappers. Diddy apparently hates being all alone on a track, so there are usually on average 2 or 3 other rappers on any given song, and this one is no exception. This track really does nothing for me. It's an early 2000s rap song right before the crunk era came in and changed the game. You see, given Diddy's persona as a powerful rich mogul, he could really only thrive in the bling era of rap, which was smack dab in the middle of this album's release cycle, so you kind of have to take these songs for what they were. The third single off this album, simply called Diddy, is a song I completely forgot about, but it was produced by the Neptunes, so it stands head and shoulders above his other tracks, with an original beat and a memorable hook sung by a young Pharrell Williams.
The D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D is Diddy.
In 2006, Diddy released the album Press Play. Now we are deeply in the crunk era, and I have deeply checked out of rap music at this point. Though I had to hear it at any house party I would go to, I didn't like crunk rap. It was overly simplistic, repetitive, and stupid. And I kind of felt like it appealed to people who were also overly simplistic and stupid. The first single off this album is called Come To Me, featuring Nicole Scherzinger of the Pussycat Dolls. And this fits right in on any crunk playlist with a booty-bouncing beat and the requisite female vocalist singing the hook. But man, P. Diddy's rap style does not suit this genre of rap at all.
People go screaming like an opera anthem. Let's go. I did it before, do it again. Do it again. I got it to blow.
There is zero charisma in his vocal delivery. In a music genre where super hyped up vocals ruled the day, the whole smooth, cool guy delivery doesn't work. The second single, Tell Me, featuring Christina Aguilera, who herself was trailing on the tail end of her career relevance at this point, provided the obligatory female hook for a club banger. But again, Diddy lacks any kind of personality, and I don't know if 21st century studio production could do much to fix that. The third single, Last Night, featuring Keisha Cole, is memorable to me only because her vocal
I told you once, I told you twice, you can see it.
Was used as a sample in this modern EDM song by Luffy called Last Night.
If I told you once, I told you twice, you can see it.
So it was kind of interesting to hear the origins of that sample. Speaking of sampling, Diddy's version of Last Night samples the beat to Prince's Erotic City. He just can't quit them samples, boy. It's an addiction. The last single off this album is called Through the Pain She Told Me, which honestly has this kind of 80s synth pop thing going on that I could easily see The Weeknd singing over. Singer Mario Winans does a lot of the heavy lifting, which makes this song listenable. Diddy is doing his typical unenthusiastic talk rapping. I guess this is supposed to be one of those songs for the ladies. It would have been better if Diddy wasn't on it. Alright, almost done. I am skipping right the fuck past whatever the hell Diddy Dirty Money was, but apparently it was some side project that I'm just not counting. So this one befuddles me the most. Diddy's most recent project, and what I can only guess will be his last project, was an album called The Love Album Off the Grid. I think Diddy's about to be off the grid for a while, if you catch my drift. This fucking thing was released in 2023. Who the hell was trying to hear from P. Diddy in 2023? Hell, nobody wants to hear from Lil Pump in 2023, and I'm not sure if Lil Nas X is going to be making a return, and he was huge for like a year. My point is, the hip-hop game is unforgivably fickle. If you blow up, you got maybe 4 or 5 years tops before you are played out and forgotten. Being a DJ, the amount of hip-hop artists who were so hot when they first dropped their first single or two, and then a month later, nobody gives a fuck. It's crazy, the just numerous rappers that I thought for sure would be sticking around. They're done in 3 years. There are always those rare exceptions that are obvious and don't really need to be named, but Diddy was never in the conversation when it came to great rappers. He never even made any lists that I'm aware of. Anyway, this last Diddy record, The Love Album Off the Grid, with a runtime of 1 hour and 23 minutes, only had one song released as a single. This song is called Another One of Me. Now, I'm sure given the September 2023 release date, Diddy's team planned on releasing more singles off this album. The feature list alone reads like a star-packed affair, with features from Justin Bieber.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
Yeah, I think we've all seen that video where Diddy is being just creepy to a teenage Justin. I guess Justy got over it though. You had Summer Walker on this album, Busta Rhymes, cause why the hell not, I guess. Fabulous, Sway Lee, The Weeknd, 21 Savage, Jasmine Sullivan who is still highly regarded in the R&B world, Ty Dolla $ign, Mary J. Blige, Jeremiah, John Legend, H.E.R. or Her, however it's said. The list goes on, man. Diddy tapped all of his celebrity resources for this one. This was not an album he intended to be a flop. In fact, I would say having all of these high-profile features would be one of the main selling points to get people to even listen to P. Diddy in 2023. But after all the shit came out about his freak-offs and his essay and his regular A with the brutal footage caught on tape with Diddy in the hotel hallway with his then-girlfriend Cassie, who was a pseudo-pop star in her own right back in the 2000s. Yeah, I think all of the ad campaigns and promotional tours came to a complete stop. I think this album probably had many more singles waiting in the wings, but there is no way any radio station is going to play new music from P. Diddy at this point. Shot yourself in the foot, bud. Shouldn't have been such a piece of shit. So let's listen to this last Diddy single and I'll wrap this thing up.
Don't waste your tears on me. I'ma tell you it ain't worth the fight. I'ma hurt you.
Okay, so first of all, you have your standard Weeknd fare, soft pads with emotional vocals from The Weeknd himself. To me, this is supposed to signal that what you are hearing is new and contemporary. This isn't Puff Daddy Bling era shit anymore, son. But then again, man, them old habits die hard. They sampled the drum fill from Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. Oh, that really chaps my ass. Fucking sacrilege. Don't do my boy Philly D like that. It's got a fairly sparse standard trap beat with all of the features doing all of the work.
One night stand cause I'm toxic. 21. We don't go on dates, I'm trying to duck the paparazzi.
This track alone features The Weeknd, French Montana, and 21 Savage. We literally don't even hear from the Didmeister until like the last 30 seconds of the song.
Yo, check this out. All I am is a man with ambition to be the best. When I failed, it just gave me the vision.
He's literally just DJ Khaled at this point. He's curated a bunch of popular singers for 2023 and slapped them all on his record with him, doing very little of the actual rapping or whatever. Honestly, probably a smart move given that nobody ever really cared about P. Diddy's rapping. It was always the people and the persona he wrapped himself up in that made him a spectacle. If you were a celebrity, you wanted to get invited to one of his parties.
If you have one of your crazy house party things, shout me a holler, done.
Well, in retrospect, maybe not. If you were a normie, you loved watching him hang out with other celebrities. And every now and then, he might drop a catchy little tune that is carried by the 3 other more credible rappers under a beat that is probably stolen from a song that was already a proven hit in the 1980s. That seems to be the Diddy formula for finding success in the music business. So does Diddy have any actual good songs? I mean, his peak was obviously in the late 90s and early 2000s, but even then, like, my personal gripe is that the beats were repetitive and the songs were so damn long. They wear out their welcome and become kind of tedious. Even a song like All About the Benjamins, like, yeah, it's a cool, interesting beat, and I would argue Diddy's understated vocals paired well with the beat, but at 4.5 minutes, it just gets stale. Any of the good ideas he may have had were extended for far too long and left the crowd wanting less. This is all my opinion, of course. So that is my overly extensive take on P. Diddy and his actual music, and if you thought for a second I was going to listen to the deep cuts off these albums, you're fucking nuts. But if there is a hidden gem in the lot, good for him, I guess. Anyway, let me know, yeah, actually, I don't know what the call to action is at the end of this video, given all the things that have come out about this guy, so I guess say whatever the fuck you want in the comments section. Until next time, have a good rest of your night.